I saw my own father remain silent while she destroyed us. That isn't a line from a Netflix drama about Jim Jones's son discussing Chrissy Lampkin. It's a voice memo that was leaked without any filters or a script, and what he said is not only heartbreaking, but damning. For years, fans believed that Chrissy was just the ride-or-die fiancé. But behind closed doors, she was allegedly taking late-night calls from Cameron while Jim was out collecting checks to support the family. Now that he's afloat, the son who has been silent for so long is exposing everything: the lies, the betrayal, the arguments. The day he walked in and saw something he wasn't supposed to see, this isn't reality TV drama anymore. This is real blood, real betrayal, and a son finally sharing the story his father was too broken to tell himself. Stay there, because after you hear what he reveals next, you won't look at Chrissy the same way, because she didn't just break his heart, she destroyed everything we were holding together, and he stood there watching her burn it all down. For years, Chrissy Lamine was praised as the ride-or-die woman who waited, fought, and stayed. However, behind the designer shoes, VH1 edits, and staged reunions, there was another Chrissy who allegedly left broken pieces everywhere she went, including inside her own home. Now, that house of secrets is exploding because the one person who never spoke, Jim Jones's son, is finally speaking. And he's not just talking, he's exposing. Let's flash back. We all recall the subtle rumors that Chrissy had been involved with Cameron, Jim's close friend, Dipset, a brother in family by loyalty rather than blood, for years. At the time, people assumed that the rumors were just blog talk. But what if? I told you that in addition to being true, Jim's own son saw the collapse from the front row. I was only a teenager, but I wasn't foolish. I saw the direct messages, and I saw how Jim looked at her after he found out. But he remained as if nothing had happened. This isn't a fan theory anymore. It's first-hand testimony from someone who have you ever had to act like everything's cool, knowing the woman who ruined your childhood is sitting in the next room? Was the cryptic Instagram story that began the leak? It had no tags, names, or context, but fans knew, and within 15 minutes, Chrissy was trending again this time. It wasn't for a new comeback, but rather for what people are calling the Harlem House betrayal. When blogs attempted to get clarification, they were met with a 47-second clip without any music, filters, or edits. To fully grasp the gravity of this story, we must go back to the original scandal. According to sources close to the family, the alleged affair with Cameron was not a one-night blunder. Rather, it was a 2-year emotional roller coaster that included late-night FaceTime calls, secret hotel meets when Jim was on tour, and a string of business trips Chrissy allegedly took alone. My pops isn't perfect, but the way she played him, I still don't understand how he forgave that. I don't even think he did. I think he just gave up. I didn't think much of it until I overheard them fighting on the phone. You know who they are? Jim and Chrissy. According to Kesha, one night Jim flew out early to surprise Chrissy in Atlanta, and he walked in on her. That's what we thought too, until an unnamed former assistant of Corfer Ward, E-Forward, let's call her Kesha. Kesha worked for Chrissy from 2014 to 2016. And she claims to be chilling. She would say she was going to LA to handle a shoot or do fittings. Sweet. And discovered Cam's wallet on the nightstand, not Cam. Just the wallet, and Chrissy stood there speechless. I'm not sure what happened next, but I do know that she wanted me to cancel everything. The following day, she was crying and trembling, and she left the hotel before dawn. Fans were not shocked when this new round of accusations came out. In fact, many claim to have seen the signs all along. Here are just a few fictitious but eerily realistic-sounding Twitter comments from X. Not Jim's son, saying what we've been thinking since 2012. Chrissy Ben moving amusingly, Jim's son's next revelation. Took this scandal from messy to traumatic. In the second part of his leaked voice memo, Jim's son recounts a memory so personal and painful that it's sending shockwaves through the culture. I remember that LHNY reunion and the way she looked at Cam when he showed up unexpectedly. That wasn't a friendly look. It is an example of how she played the long game, got the ring, and still dipped on him emotionally. Jim, honest conversation with Ray. My pop said, "You could have told me you didn't have to humiliate me like this." When I was 14 years old and heard them fight through the walls. I didn't comprehend everything, but I knew it was about him and Cam. And she responded, "Jimmy, you were never truly here, and I needed something real." You were never truly here, that line said. Whether or not that wound is a permanent scar, the internet froze because it's now public knowledge. After that night, however, things changed. And Chrissy stopped sharing family photos with Jim, looked far away. The chemistry that fans once adored gradually deteriorated into awkward silence during interviews. And now, as we look back, are saying that the signs were all there, we just didn't want to believe them. One commenter wrote, "The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves just to keep a happy picture online." Jim never once publicly addressed the Cameron rumors, not even when Cam secretly kissed Chrissy in a song that mysteriously vanished from streaming the week after it was released. What does this mean for the future of the next voice memo? Which was posted anonymously but unmistakably in Jim's son's voice. dropa.m.comma at 2:04 a.m. and it changed everything. I didn't speak before because I didn't want to offend my father. But then I heard him shrink every time. The Jones family is about to get deeper because the next voice memo reveals something even darker that might explain why Jim never defended himself, why Chrissy never got canceled, and why the people closest to them stayed quiet until now. It's not just about cheating anymore. It's about what happens after betrayal, the gaslighting and gaslighting. It's the illusion. Because while Chrissy was out here giving relationship advice on reality shows, building brands and flipping tables. For drama, Jim was apparently unraveling quietly behind closed doors. And guess who was watching the entire time? Then I used to ask him, "Why don't you leave?" Because she was smiling for the cameras like nothing ever happened. And he would simply say, "She's all I've got, man." That stuck with me because he truly thought that she was his only choice. People would constantly ask why Jim never married Chrissy after all those years. Was it cold feet, the industry, his personality, or something deeper like fear that if he let go, he'd lose not just a partner, but the only structure he'd know is toxic? Now, picture growing up in that and watching your father chase peace while drowning in chaos. That's what Jim's son is exposing now, not for attention or influence, but for release. Era Gordon Tuck. Regarding this next section, this is where the story changes. One of the most outrageous allegations was made in a private direct message that was leaked to a gossip page by a former Jones family stated. She stated she had access to everything, including bank passwords and passwords, contracts, and she would intercept his calls, delete messages, and cancel meetings without telling him. There were times Jimmy would show up at venues and be informed that the event was canceled, only to discover later that Chrissy had pulled the plug behind his back. If that's accurate, let's be clear that this is all alleged. Another leaked email purportedly from Chrissy's publicist to a television producer reads, "Please do not bring up the Cameron. The sit-down. The sit-down. Chrissy is open to discussing the evolution of her relationship with Jim, but the Cam narrative is off limits. Why would it be off limits if it was never true? Why dodge a ghost unless that ghost was real, wearing pink mink and a smirk? And that's not even the wildest part, because now Cameron himself is making fun of Instagram story Cam. Shared a video of himself standing next to Chrissy from an old Dipset music video, writing some memories age context. No context, no smoke. Out. Just internet Uto. He internet O. It caught fhours.ith in Hours Archer Commissy trending. Trending people started digging clips, D-clips, piecing timelines, L-leans compare lyrics. ICS de Sichi Nerviews. Views and it's not looking good. Chrissy.ssy. Fans are now resurfacing a 2016 interview where Cam was asked about women in the industry, ND. He smirked before saying, "Some women are loyal to the spotlight, not the man who holds it." In the last seconds of the voice memo, Jim's son states, "She was toxic to us, the whole family." And right there, everything clicked. This isn't just a relationship scandal. This is a family collapse, a years-long emotional erosion covered in lies. Many now believe that was a direct shot at Chrissy, and if it was, she never fired back, never did. Edit. She simply pivoted. Now that Jim's son is voicing his side, a new narrative is emerging that positions Chrissy as the antagonist rather than the victim. Not to mention the designer clothes and Instagram filters, Chrissy proposed to Jim on national television. Instead of waiting for him to pop the question, she grabbed the spotlight and said, "I got this." At the time, people referred to this as an empowering boss move, but now fans are wondering if it was just another tactic to manipulate the story and make the world believe she was the glue while secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes. When Jim didn't accept the proposal right away, we noticed the tension. We simply didn't understand the context. So we do it nit wasn't twasin t cold feet. Rather, it was in t conflict.litt. It was a man divided between loyalty, love, v.e., and a son. Watching it all fall apart. To make matters worse, an alleged audio leak, once more made anonymously, seems to be a recorded phone conversation between Jim and an unnamed male friend. The audio is grainy, but it's clear enough to hear Jim say, "Don't even look at me the same. I'm in the crib feeling like a ghost, as if I'm in her path." Let that sink in. Chrissy is silent, doesn't tweet, and no denial, no damage control. Just silence on Instagram, and you know what that silence is saying? Guilt or strategy. Chrissy is an expert at spinning a story. She's done it for 10 years, from hip-hop and love to fashion deals, and she's always known how to make herself look like the misunderstood queen. However, this time, more alleged insiders are speaking up, including former VH1 stylists, drivers, and even old friends. One direct message claims that she always had a fallback plan in case she had to leave. Here's where it all connects. After 2015, Jim Jones's music slowed down. He stopped dropping as frequently and stopped touring as much. The last time he gave an honest interview about love, he said, "Sometimes you stay because walking away feels like failure, even when you know it's already over." Jimmy wasn't paranoid. He was tired. He used to say, "If she leaves, I'll lose more. Then just love, I'll lose everything." Imagine living like that. The fans are divided because it sounds like a man who stayed in a burning house for too long and a son who watched the fire helplessly while holding the ashes. Some claim Jim's son is just leaking personal information to get attention, while others argue that this was necessary for him to regain his truth. However, one thing is certain. Chrissy's reputation as the devoted, drama-fighting fiancé is crumbling, and underneath it is a decade of secrets that could potentially change everything we thought we knew. The lawsuits, the apologies, and the inevitable damage control that will follow. But first we must discuss the one thing when the truth finally comes to light. You'll realize that some people weren't just surviving a bad relationship. They were trapped in a performance, a long-running show where the pain was real but the smiles were scripted. Jim Jones, according to new insider claims, was ready to leave several times. But every time he got close, something would mysteriously leak private information. One expected what Jim is planning now that this is all public. And trust me, when you hear what he's been sitting on for years, you'll realize that this was survival. According to a former stylist who worked with both of them, whenever Jim tried to back off, Chrissy would be the victim in public. She learned how to cry on camera and then call the shots off it. The source even recounted a particular moment backstage during a reunion special, where Jim was quietly holding it together when Chrissy walked in and said, "Don't forget what's on the line." He sat down and never spoke again after that. Here's where it gets even messier, according to two alleged industry insiders. One from a former reality TV production team and another who claimed to be a talent manager. Chrissy had a backup plan the entire time, a second life. It wasn't necessarily romantic, but it was strategic. She allegedly had private meetings with executives about launching her own series. One that wouldn't include Jim at all. One where she was the star she was. Does that mean what was really on the line was money, contracts, or secrets? Or was Chrissy holding on to something much more powerful, a version of Jim that the world could never unsee? Now, of course, this is all alleged, but the timeline begins to look a little too clean, especially when you consider the most recent bombshell. An anonymous audio clip released 3 nights ago. The voice is severely distorted, but what is said is crystal clear. I told her, if you leaked that tape because she was the boss of the brand and knew where the skeletons were buried. Literally and figuratively. If Jim didn't cooperate, "You're done, baby," she said. I realized then that I was only an accessory. The internet is certain that the voice belongs to Jim. And that tape might be the rumored footage from that notorious 2014 hotel incident in Atlanta that was allegedly lost because if what fans are assembling is accurate, the footage wasn't lost. Rather, it was obscured by Critty Jenridge once more. However, that's not all. Jim's son recently shared something else. A cryptic story without words. Just an old family photo torn in half down the middle, with Jim on one side and the other side gone. And the caption, "Sometimes peace comes with loss." Fans are going crazy, DMing, tagging, and reposting in an attempt to determine whether this is Jim and Chrissy are officially done. But the problem is that insiders are now claiming that Chrissy's next move is already in motion. They claim that she is negotiating a new deal, a Talal documentary, in which she will control the narrative and finally speak her truth. If that isn't damage control, I don't know what is. But the people aren't buying it, not after hearing what Jim's son had to say. Not after seeing years of silence now break down into chaos, and especially not after what happened next. Mama Jones, Jim's outspoken mother, is now entering the fire in an unexpected interview clip. "I've told y'all, all she wasn't right, but y'all said crazy. See, I just saw the devil behind the diamonds," Mama Jones says in an upcoming podcast episode. Have you ever watched your child fall in love with a storm? He danced in the lightning, thinking it was a light show, but that storm was never going to stop. It just waited till he was too tired to run. Mama Jones doesn't hold back when she claims that Chrissy isolated Jim from his family, made family dinners feel like interrogations, and even suggests that Chrissy threw away letters that Jim wrote to his late friend, bundles.nd-less. The internet is demanding answers. And hashtags like Chewy Free Jim Jones Chin Chrissy Exposed and Family First are flooding timelines. Fan-made timelines, charts, receipts, and complete breakdowns of when the relationship soured and why Jim stayed silent are going viral. Even celebrities are giving their opinions. For fans who are aware of Jim's past, that one hit hard. Now we have son Mama Jones, alleged former employees, and anonymous insiders all singing the same chorus. Chrissy wasn't the victim, she was the puppeteer, and Jim was just a faithful heart stuck in the strings. Legendary producer Swizz Beats liked a fan comment that read, "Jim deserved more than staged love and real pain. So wano." According to some insiders, Jim is already in talks to release his own statement, possibly in music form. Rumor has it that he's recorded a full EP titled Red Flags Andros's All Pain, All Truth, All Hammond. Get this, he's planning to drop it without warning. Family drown in silence. Salute the son for stepping up. Reality star Kim Bella commented on a Shade Room post. For the first time, Jim might be finished playing the part of the quiet ride or die. And he might finally be ready to share his life story uncut, unfiltered, and unchained. Chrissy is still silent and has not made a statement, but her team is reportedly preparing a formal response. Whether that means a lawsuit, a documentary, or another passive-aggressive Instagram post, only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The house of cards is falling for what appears to be black love. If Chrissy could have planned all of this in plain sight, what else would she have hidden behind the scenes? What else did Jim sacrifice in the name of loyalty? And most importantly, what would you do if you discovered the love you built your life on? Goals on TV are being exposed as emotional warfare behind the scenes, and the people involved are no longer hiding. This story isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started, because for every silence that has been broken, another one is cracking. Another truth is clawing its way out, and we, the viewers, are waiting to see what else they've been hiding. We need to talk about this. Is Jim finally waking up? Is the son being brave or messy? Is Chrissy the villain or a victim of spin? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for the next drop. You already know that the next chapter of this story will be even more crazy. There will be more audio, leaked texts, and revealed secrets. If you thought it was explosive, wait, it was never about love at all. Keep checking back to see what happens next. Now that the mask is off and the truth is showing through, do you think Chrissy was ever truly for Jim? Or was this all one long, painful performance? Or did Jim's son just say what we've all been thinking for years? Is this the end of a toxic love story? Or is this the beginning of a long overdue reckoning? Please share your thoughts, opinions, and conspiracy theories in the comments section below. Do you like music? Do you think Jim will finally use music to defend herself in this way? The next leak could rock the internet once again. So if you felt even a shred of truth in what was stated, subscribe. If you're sick of lies and ready for more unvarnished facts, hit that bell. You won't want to miss what's coming. It isn't just drama anymore. It's a full-blown reception. Revolution remains. Bound in. Bound in.